I've been asked to make a video showing how to do the double roll brim beanie, or kind of a derby almost. So I wanted to show you what it looks like because I know one of my biggest pet peeves when people do tutorials is they don't show in the beginning the finished product. So as you can see, this is just an E-wrapped brim that's going to curl up. This is just an E-wrapped brim. No, it's harder to see the black. Then when I turn it inside out, you can see that they're connected. And I did a row. This is a garter stitch here, so this is 3 garter ridges, and then this is just E-wrapped with the modified drawstring bind off that I've done a tutorial for. I did this one, and I do most of my adult hats on this purple 48 peg 5/8 inch gauge nifty knitter loom. You cannot get this loom anymore. Provo Craft used to make them. Now you can get one at Cindy Wood looms. I'm going to go ahead and cast on, and then you're just going to E-wrap until you get about 10 to 12 rows or curl about the size that you want. So I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. I know it's not the softest yarn. Pardon the hammering. There are 2 guys working on my deck. I'm really sorry. And when I cast on, I simply go all the way around the loom. And I'll do this quickly so you can see. And this is, I've used a lot of different cast-ons. I've done a crocheted cast-on. And I just don't find that there's a better cast-on than this one. It's just a plain old cast-on. You'll see what I mean. Let me get all the way around the loom. Red Heart Super Saver works better for these rolled brims because it has a little more body to it and it's a little stiffer. I know it's not terribly soft, but it does work really well for the rolled brim. I haven't tried one in a super soft yarn, so I'm not real sure how it would look. Okay, so when I get to my last peg, I've wrapped all the way around. I come around and I U-wrap the first peg and lift it over. Tighten that up just a little bit. And then I do the same thing all the way around. So I just U-wrap, pull it over to the next peg, U-wrap, because you're making like the letter U. And do that all the way around your loom, and then just E-wrap about 10 to 12 rows and meet me back here. I want to give another quick tip. When you are just E-wrapping, don't E-wrap your entire loom all the way to here, because you'll have what's called the ladder effect. Because when you wrap all the way around, all your slack ends up here, and you'll have this weird looking ladder between your stitches, and some of you may already know what I'm talking about. To avoid that, all you have to do is wrap 6 or 8 pegs, and I would change it each round. I wouldn't wrap the same number each time you go around, and you can avoid doing ladders. Don't ever wrap your entire loom at one time, because it looks much nicer when you just wrap 6 or 8, 7, 8 pegs at a time. So I've been wrapping about 6 or 8 pegs at a time, and the idea is not to always end up on this peg. So for instance, I'm going to keep wrapping around because I know I have several more rows that I want to do. Oops, sorry about that. So I'm going to wrap, and then now I'm ending up on peg 2. So the idea is to not always end on the same peg, so you don't want to always end on that peg. Some rounds you might want to end on this peg, some rounds on this peg, and so forth. That will prevent you from having these weird ladders or spaces. Okay, so I finished about 10 or so rows on my first curled brim. I measured my other one, and it's about 2 1/4 inches, and then the bottom one I think is about 3. So I just kind of measured this one to see if it's about yeah, about 2¼ maybe 2½. But anyway, I just kind of eyeball it when you see it start to curl like that. Maybe about 10, 11, 12 rows. Okay, so that's my color A. So you're going to push all your loops all the way down. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn. I'll leave a pretty good tail. So I like a longer tail to be able to weave in. Now I'm going to take my second color, which is this, and I'm going to make a slip knot just like as if I were casting on and there was no yarn on here. So I'm going to go ahead and I put my slip knot here. You can do it however you like. And you're going to cast on again, but just pretend like these loops aren't here. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around the loom with color B. Okay, when I get back to peg 1, I'm going to cast on just as I did my other color. So like I said, once I get all my pegs wrapped, I make a U, and I'm only going to lift over the loop for the new color. I'll tighten that up just a little bit. Okay, and then you'll have to push these down a little bit. You're going to cast on. Only lift this loop. And you're going to forget that these loops are even here. So it's just like you're casting on. Okay? And you're going to do that all the way around the loom. So when you get your cast on done, meet me back here. I'm not quite finished yet, but I wanted you to see how you can now see the second brim starting to emerge under the first one. So there's your one under there. And I'm still going to make it a little bit longer. You have all these tails that you have to weave in. That's my only thing I don't like about this is all the tails to weave in, but it's not that hard. So anyway, I'm going to knit some more rows. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. Probably knit at least maybe 3 more rows. 2 or 3 more rows and see where I am before we're going to end up lifting the bottom loops over the top, and you'll end up connecting the 2 brims together. Okay, once you finish your second brim, you can kind of see here how it's about the same as the other one as far as how much is showing. It'll be a little bit longer than your original one. I'll pull it this way so you can see. You can see the difference. So anyway, from here on out, it's pretty easy. I went ahead and cut my yarn tail because I'm going to put one strand of this and one strand of the burgundy together for the next row. So all you do now, once you have your brims both the length you want them to be, is just lift the bottom loops over, and that will connect the 2 brims together. And do that all the way around the loom. So now both of your brims are attached. And if you turn it over, you can get an idea of what it will look like. From here on out, you can start the body of your hat. You could make another brim. On this particular hat, after I did the 2 rolls, I did a garter stitch. Just for fun, I like to play with different stitches. And then this is just an E-wrap. And then I did a flat drawstring bind off that I've done a video tutorial for. So it's up to you. However you want to make the hat is your own design from here on out. But that is the double brim beanie.